Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to art class. We're going to get started with our next lesson. This lesson's going to have like two parts. We're going to do one part of it this week, and then we will get all the way through with that and finish that. And then next week, we'll talk about a second part to it. There will be a whole different video, different lesson page for that next week, so no need to worry about that right now. I just wanted you to know. So for this lesson, we're actually going to learn about a job. It's a job that uses a lot of different skills, a lot of different things, a lot of different knowledge. People that do this job are good at math. People that do this job have a really good understanding of physics, like how gravity works and how strong different materials are and things like that. But they also have to have a really good understanding of art. And that job, the person that we're talking about, would be called an architect. So what does an architect do? Well, an architect is the person that designs the places that we are. They design buildings, they design houses, they design things we use like bridges and roads and things like that. So an architect has a very important job. And we already talked about all the different kinds of skills and knowledge that they need. Now it's important to understand math because you want to know that you can build a building this tall without it crumbling down. But it's also important for architects to know about art for a couple of different reasons. You want things to look nice, right? And as you get further into art, you start to kind of understand what looks nice to people and what doesn't. Now, just because something doesn't look nice to you or me doesn't mean it doesn't look good. But there are some things that we can all kind of agree on. And when I say nice, that doesn't necessarily mean this building looks like junk. Interesting, maybe is the word we should use. You want something to look interesting. So that's the reason that we need to know about art. They also draw the plans. You want to be able to draw those plans in a way that people can understand. Another good reason that architects have to have some knowledge of art is because one of the things we learn about in art is balance. Balance is when you're on a bicycle and you don't lean too far this way and you don't lean too far this way, you stay right where you need to, you stay balanced. So with art, we usually think about that in like one picture. Is there a good balance? Is there enough colorful things and is there enough dark things? Is the main subject of our artwork huge and everything else is teeny tiny? Is there a good balance between those things? With architects and what they build, we would call architecture. With their architecture, they want to look at a balance between the thing they're making and the surroundings, the environment around it. Things can be balanced or unbalanced, and neither one's a bad thing. So if you were making a building that was going to be in the woods, you might want it to be dark colors and, you know, not really stand out and take away from the forest that people wanted to look at. Or might be completely opposite and you would want it to stand out. So then you'd make it like silver and shiny so it would stand out. So those are just like a couple of the reasons that an architect needs to know at least like a little bit about art. I went to school at UK in Lexington to become an art teacher, and of course, as you might imagine, we had to take a lot of art classes. Well, most of the time in a lot of my art classes, there were also people that were going to UK to become architects. So it was seen as a very important thing for them to do. So today, with the start of this lesson, that's what we're going to do. You guys get to become architects. So congratulations, you just graduated college, you're an architect, you can go start making money. You're going to come up with a building idea. Now this can be any kind of building, just any kind of a place that a person could be inside of. So it could be something as small as a house or something as big as a skyscraper. Anywhere in between is fine too. So you want to think about like what kind of building you want to make. That's kind of your first step. What is its purpose going to be? Is this for like one family to live in? Is this maybe a big giant apartment building where a ton of families get to live? Where is it going to be? What kind of environment do you want it in? Is this a big building that's in a city? Is this a tiny house out on a farm? Is it something that doesn't necessarily make sense, like a big giant building on a farm? I don't know. It's up to you. You're the architect. The other thing we need to think about is like, what is the purpose of this building? If it's a big giant tall building, maybe it has a specific purpose. Maybe it is where a TV station is. So we would need to see, you know, the things like the big satellite dishes and things they use. So that's just kind of an idea of some of the details you can think about. We need to know like what kind of place it is, where is it, and like what is the building's purpose. Now it doesn't need to have a crazy purpose like the TV station example. It could just be a house, which is a perfectly fine purpose for one of your buildings. That's kind of all I really wanted to talk about you now. So I guess let's go ahead and start making some stuff. All right, guys, so let's get started making our buildings. So like Lee said, you guys are architects today. You're gonna design some buildings. To do that, you're gonna need a piece of paper. You are gonna need a pencil. You will eventually want some crayons, some markers, something to color with, and you might need a ruler. Now I said might because your buildings are going to be different. Yours will be different from mine, yours will be different from somebody else in your classes. So if your building is going to have a bunch of straight lines, you might want a ruler or something to help you draw a straight line. Does not need to be a ruler. Anything straight you can use. You can use, you know, the cardboard part of your notebook or something. Just something to help you with lines. Again, only if you need it. All right, so we said a couple of the things that we would think about when we were making our buildings is what kind of building do we want? I have decided that I want a house, but not like a normal house. Definitely not the house that I live in. I want like a big, crazy mansion sort of thing. Where do we want our buildings to be? Now again, just because this is my example doesn't mean you need to do it. You might want to do a normal house. You might want to do a giant skyscraper. It's up to you. I think I want my giant mansion, since I'm completely making this up, I want it to be on an island because I really like the ocean. So what would be better than having my own private island with my big giant mansion on it? So that's kind of where I'm going to start. I'm going to start with some of the background, some of the setting. So since I wanted it to be on an island, also I'm going to use this marker instead of that pencil so you can see, but I really want you guys to always use your pencil first. So again, since I'm going to be an island, I would probably be able to see some of the water. So I'll draw some waves. And then I'm going to start with my island. Remember, since you are making this up, it can be as realistic as you want, or it can be completely 100% out of your head. Maybe you're looking way off into the future and you're gonna design the first space station, the first spaceship landing pad that we build on Mars or something. It's completely up to you guys. All right, so here's my island. I think I want a nice little boat dock down here where I could put my sailboat when I wasn't out sailing around on the sea. Maybe a little path going up to the top of my island here. All right, so let's talk about the different kinds of shapes. If you remember, we've talked about this before. I think we might have even talked about it a little bit last week, but there's two main categories of shapes, and those are geometric shapes and organic shapes. And remember, the difference is a geometric shape is something that we all know the name to. It's things like triangles, it's squares, it's a lot of straight lines, it's a lot of angles. An organic shape is something that kind of looks like it could be from nature. It's got smooth lines and curves, not a lot of straight lines. We don't really know the name of an organic shape. There's not one shape that we can all look at and say, oh yeah, that's a puddle splat or something. All right, so a house, a building, especially since you're making these up, it can have as many of whatever type of shape as you want in it. Usually in a normal building, we see a lot of geometric shapes. If you think about your house, your windows, your door, the house shape itself is probably some sort of squares or rectangles. But since you're making it up, it can be one or the other. It can be a mix of the two. So I think I kind of want to have a mix of some organic shapes and some geometric shapes. So I'm gonna kind of start down here. This is gonna be a really tall, crazy house. Lots of good places to stand and look out at the ocean. Let's see, I think this might be a good spot to put in some more organic kind of shapes. And remember, it doesn't matter if it would work in real life, you're the architect. You can figure out how it would work later. Right now, all you're doing is coming up with your plan. Alright, so that's kind of a good start. Still want this thing to be taller though, so I'm gonna do kind of a tall skinny piece here, maybe for like the elevator to get me up to the top part of the house. Then up here, I'm gonna do a whole separate area. Lots of good windows there to look up into the sky. Alright, so those are kind of my basic shapes. So now I can start on some details. So, I mean, since we've got the ocean to look at all over the place, I want all kinds of windows. So I'm going to start adding some windows. Maybe a couple of separate ones. Maybe some that are, you know, real big and they go entire rooms and floors. We said this might be where our elevator is, so I can add those elevator doors down there. Maybe some more down here. Maybe big main entrance door to get into the house. Now, the sizes, as you can see, might not be completely correct, but that doesn't matter. We're just making it up. Alright, so I think this thing here, I want part of this to become a swimming pool. So down here, I'm gonna draw this big glass box. So when you're in the pool, you can still see down to the ocean and all around you. Always like a good diving board, so I'll go ahead and add one of those there to get into the pool. Oh man, maybe from here, we'll do a crazy water slide. So when you wake up in your bedroom first thing in the morning, you decide you want to take a swim, you can go ahead and just slide down to the pool. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add some little things that look like they're holding up the slide. My like supports, so it's nice and strong and secure. So we don't want our water slides falling off into the ocean. That would be a problem. Alright, let's see. So I've got a lot of good room, a lot of good area, plenty of places to stand out. Got to think about the fact that we might need to come and go quicker than our boat could take us. And since we've got this big crazy house, I'd say we could also definitely afford a helicopter. So this is where I'm going to put my helicopter. Alright, let's see. Oh, I think one more detail. I gotta have power. I gotta have lights. So I'm gonna put some of those awesome windmills that when they turn, it creates electricity. So I'm gonna put a couple of those up here. Maybe a smaller one over here. All right, so there's my house. There's my big giant island mansion. So that's kind of the first part of an architect designing a building, is just figuring out what they want it to be. Then the hard part starts. They have to go in and start doing the math and looking at materials and figure out if it's even possible. Luckily, we're not doing that part. We're just doing the fun part. So if I was done with this, I would go ahead and color. If I wanted to add more details to my background, I could. That's the plan, guys. Try and come up with the most creative building you can think of. Remember, it can be something as simple as just a normal house, or it can be a big crazy mansion on an island, or it can be a huge skyscraper with tons of businesses and things in it. So it's completely up to you. Remember, it doesn't have to be just organic shapes or just geometric shapes. It can be a good mix. Take all the time you need to work on this. Once you're done, don't forget there's the little button down under the lesson to click on that says Show Mr. Holiday My Artwork. Click that, it'll take you to that Flipgrid site, and I would love to take a look at it. Now, after you're all the way done with this, be sure and hold on to it, because like I said, there is going to be a part 2 next week, a second part of this lesson that will want to kind of be able to remember what our building looked like. So go ahead and finish it all the way, send me that picture. That's all you need to worry about for this week, and then next week we'll still want these because we're going to kind of use them for our next step. All right, guys. Good luck. Congratulations on being architects. Good luck making those buildings. See you guys next time. Bye.